Baruch here with genConnect, and we're joined today by the Atlantic's Steve Clemons. Steve, I just spoke with Senator George Mitchell, and we were talking about ISIS and about how many people underestimated the potential of their organization. He said there's also a risk of overestimating it. Where do you fall on that?
Well, I think both are true. I think we underestimated ISIS in the sense that we thought that arming, equipping Syrian opposition, a kind of warm and fuzzy opposition that might be moderate and kind of believe in a secular civil society was easy to do. But the Islamist extremist groups ended up being a much more successful fighting force in Syria, much more effective at gathering resources for themselves than the folks we wanted to win. So we underestimated in that sense. But it's basically about 10,000 troops who've quickly taken huge swaths of land, basically the size of Illinois or Indiana, and they won't be able to hold it. And the only reason they've been able to is the acquiescence of Sunni leaders who are very upset about how they've been neglected and left behind by a government in Baghdad. So the issue is you can overestimate them in the sense that they can disappear because of other forces. But if these fundamental issues of inclusion, of making a Sunni population inside Iraq and elsewhere in the region feel like it's got a stake at a place at the table, then the ISIS kind of crowd will continue to succeed.
How long would ISIS continue to hold the territory with U.S. engagement?
I don't think American engagement per se is a definitive factor here. I think that if we were to deploy drones, deploy military force from the air, that's not going to matter one way or another whether ISIS succeeds or ISIS fails. The biggest thing that will affect ISIS is whether or not you can bring Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia, France, the neighborhood, and parts of the neighborhood that have been at war with each other, particularly Saudi Arabia and Iran, both of whom have concerns about ISIS. If you did that, ISIS will be short-lived. If you don't, ISIS will continue to proceed even if the United States takes military action through drones and other kind of air power.
Is there another ISIS waiting in the wings that we might be underestimating just like we did with ISIS?
Of course, there's an ISIS. There are kinds of ISIS-type operations anywhere in the world where you see failing states. You see this in Africa. Not necessarily the same kind of conditions, but you see large swaths of Islamic extremists using their religious extremists as a justification for shaking down businesses, extorting money, and becoming a kind of self-developing, self-anointed crusade for people. And because states are so weak and have been unable to deliver services and a decent life to their citizens, these groups are getting some momentum.
Steve, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And for more with Steve Clemons and the Atlantic, be sure to check out genConnect.